It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Thursday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, we welcome you to our Thursday podcast heading towards a great sports weekend. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, John Riley. We welcome you to our Thursday podcast, brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials. You want ideas, they can help you be your best friend and your consultant. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. DIXIELINE, build it, fix it. Guarantee you'll enjoy it for the rest of 2025. John Riley, good afternoon. We're at the end of August, going to Labor Day weekend, going to September, and boy, there's a lot of stories to talk about.
Hey, are you ready for some football? We're going to kick it off tonight, right?
Yeah, we're going a lot of different directions on this podcast. Item 1, when we're done putting topics on the table, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, hot topics, lots of opinions. When we're done with that, you take over the podcast. We call this Fans Forum. When we're done, John, explain to all the people on the live stream how Fans Forum works.
Fans Forum is your chance to get involved. I already see Carlos and the practicing guitarist in line. So if you got a question or comment for Hacksaw, just drop your take in the live chat on YouTube, X, or on Facebook. We'll get you involved at the conclusion of Hacksaw's Headlines.
And again, make your points clear, concise, right to the point, cut through all the bull. Just ask a question, make a statement. That way we can respond. We'll try to take as many Fans Forum comments in the chat box. It's open for business right now. Talk about the topics we're going to talk about today. You want to talk about something we touched bases on yesterday, the day before, last week, etc. Feel free. Pile in so you can pile on one of us, Fans Forum chat box. By the way, you like sports? Have you ever sampled my website? Better be a yes. Because if it's a no, you dummy. Listen, I write a ton every day on my sports website. When we're done with the podcast, I just want you to punch it up on the internet and sample it. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. It's their first thing every morning. We cover everything in the world of sports. I think you'll really like it. Check it every morning. Want you to join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You get on my email list. When you do that, you can register right on the homepage of the website. There's an orange box. Just fill it out with the information so you get on the email list. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe on the YouTube channel, you will get alerts every time we put additional videos up on the YouTube channel, and we do that quite a bit. We also obviously want you part of my social media team. It's called Hacksaw's Twitter All-Stars. Are you an all-star? Hell yes. Listen, I want you to go to X. Just type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hit the follow button. You'll become then available to take part in all my mini polls on social media on X. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps us. Give us a 5-star rating. Follow us. Tell your friends about all the things that we're doing. John, we're going everywhere. We have so many late-breaking stories today. It is just amazing that stuff that's happened starting as early as 5 o'clock this morning. You want to talk baseball to get this thing. You're hitting lead off. Go ahead.
Okay, let's talk Padre baseball. They got the day off today, but there was some series up in Seattle.
Yeah, let's just talk about the Padre baseball. Some pluses and some minuses. They're 2 games out of first place right now. Obviously, they still have what I think is a substandard schedule for the most part the rest of the way, and they need to put a winning streak together. Pluses. Do you know since he came here from Baltimore, Ramon Laureano is hitting .330? Yeah. .330. He's doing amazing. Everything. He's playing everywhere. He's an emotional leader. He's a productive ball player. He chases down fly balls. He's hit some big home runs along the way. Gavin Sheets seems to hit the hot button right now. He's back on a little bit of a hot streak. I think the burning question is, where are they placing him in the batting order with what consistency? Nick Pivetta continues to be the ace of this pitching staff, and they need more quality starts from him. Bit of a question mark. What are they doing at first base? Should it be Ryan O'Hearn, who's hitting pretty better than he had, or is it Luis Arise just based on history? Although Arise, and this is a shocker, is hitting just .218 in the last 21 games. There's not a lot of plate discipline with Arise at this point. I tend to think Mike Shildt is struggling a little bit with that rotation. Fernando Tatis is doing everything except hitting home runs. He has 1 home run in his last 132 plate appearances, and there's all kinds of other questions. There's some good, there's some bad decisions made by Mike Shildt. People are just kind of piling on. Everybody's holding their breath to see what happens in the next day or two. Michael King to throw another simulated game, this with the Padres up in Minnesota. They're not sending him back out on a rehab start. Only time will tell whether he's going to be ready the first week of September or this thing gets pushed back maybe to September 15th. I guess, and Fermin has really been, I think, rock solid behind home plate, and he's hit pretty well in chunks of time, so I think they've solved the catcher's problem. Now, the huge debatable thing, who do you trust in the rotation beyond Pavetta, John? This is a monstrously big question because we see Dylan Cease, and it continues to be an enigma. His ERA now is almost at 5.00. JP Sears goes back to AAA again after he gets banged around in another start. He just looks overmatched in the middle of this pennant race. They're calling up Randy Vasquez because there is nobody else to call up. Yu Darvish, good outing. Yu Darvish, shaky outing. There's no consistency at this point to where Darvish is. So at the end of the day, as good as the Padres played in one stretch of time, they're 2 games back. They need a hot streak, and they need to find some answers to these questions as to who should play certain positions and when. And I know you follow a lot of extracurricular activity, a.k.a. social media. They're not real happy with Mike Shildt. The podium is yours. Answer my questions. Who do you trust in the rotation? Who do you like in the batting order, etc.?
I trust Pavetta. I trust, Cease, you're right, is questionable. Darvish is questionable. But even Nestor Cortez has actually shown us a little something there. JP Sears, he's like a depth piece in AAA. Now, I even saw someone report that due to the schedule and the off days, they may not even need that 5th arm in the rotation going forward. So I think, it's a little bit of a rocky road, but it's positive to see Tatis hitting the ball. I will say this, though. It seems that the social media fervor over all this Luis Arraez stuff has been getting hotter and hotter. I saw Tony Gwynn Jr. having to defend Luis Arraez on the MLB network. Fans are furious. They're saying when Tatis gets on base, Arraez is not getting base hits. When Arraez really needs to be moved down the order. I think there's something to be said about that, but I also wonder if the social media frenzy is like killing Arraez, that he's reading it too much.
End of the day, he is really undisciplined at the plate.
Yes.
I mean, he swings at so much stuff, including the stuff out of the area code. And that's him. Sometimes he puts out those balls in play and they drop in for base hits. But, hitting 218 over a 21-game haul at this point of the season, that's not good.
No.
So I don't know if there's a solution there. You're not going to bench Arraez to put O'Hearn in every day, are you? I mean,
well, someone's got to sit when Merrill is activated.
Exactly.
Then who?
A good question. And then you got Gavin Sheets, who all of a sudden in this quadrant is starting to hit again.
Right.
Tough call. And Mike Shildt, I'm not going to say he's in no man's land. He's going to do what he thinks from a baseball IQ perspective, but then he's getting banged around too in social media too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, because he keeps falling back on, putting Arraez in the 2-hole, seemingly playing old school ball rather than the analytics. So, yeah, there's a lot to critique Shildt on.
Padre fans forum chat box is open. I know you're on social media. I want you on this podcast. Jump on board. Your reaction to the points that we've talked about here. I'm more concerned about the pitching staff than I am the triumvirate of guys that he can choose from who can all get hot in the batting order. I'm really worried about anything beyond Nick Pivetta right now at the most important time of the season going to the playoffs.
Well, let's see what happens with Michael King. I think the jury is still out on that. We might be pleasantly surprised.
Okay, that's all things Padre baseball. Let's talk about the other guys. The other guys are in first place now with a 2-game lead, and now they're getting healthy.
Yeah, and they just got done sweeping the Reds.
Let's talk about the Dodgers. Some good, a little bit bad, but they're in first place, and they don't seem to be giving it up, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. Ready for the stats? We talked about the potential You kept saying Calvary's coming, Calvary's. I think the Calvary's arrived at Chavez Ravine. Clayton Kershaw, 5-0, 1.98 ERA.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
Can you say comeback player of the year, maybe?
Yeah.
Blake Snell, 1.97 ERA. Yash Yamamoto, including a couple of bad outings, 2.90 ERA. Glass now, a little bit of control problems. ERA, though, very respectable, 3.36. And Ohtani, who's been brought along slowly. Wednesday night, 9 strikeouts. Season high 85 pitches. Clocked at 100 miles an hour. So suddenly, gold standard starting pitching has arrived at Dodger Stadium. Now, that's the good. Not so good. I can't trust anybody in the bullpen. I don't care that a guy has had an odd good outing. On a night-by-night basis, when Dave Roberts goes out there, he looks out to that bullpen. I don't know that he can trust who he's calling in, but he's got to call him in and bring him in. So that becomes an issue. Now they got another injury. Alex Vesia has gone back on the disabled list with an oblique injury. Freddie Freeman has a nerve stinger in his neck. He's missed a couple of games. He says it flares occasionally. We'll see if he's going to play in this weekend series with Arizona. Max Muncy has started to take batting practice. They really need his bat in the lineup. He's been DL'd with an oblique. He thinks he's close. Alex Call, the outfielder that was brought in to replace the slump-ridden Michael Conforto, he's down now with a back injury. Michael Kopech can't get anybody out of Oklahoma City. Throwing the hell out of the ball in his rehab assignments, doesn't know where the ball's going. Not ready to be called up. And Roki Sasaki, third rehab start, 3 2/3 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, through 75 pitches, only 47 strikes. Sasaki seems to be a distance away. I don't know whether mid-September is a target or whether or not he's even going to come back here to pitch during the course of the final month of the season. So there's some good because they're in first place and they are hitting home runs now. Burning question, if they don't hit home runs, do they win games? That becomes a question. And the other question, you trust anybody in that bleeping bullpen?
No, not at all. I mean, maybe Trinan, given his track record, but generally speaking, I have the sense that it's all kind of coming together for the Dodgers as we get into September. Yeah, there's a few rocky pieces like Vesia just got hurt, but Roki Sasaki, even if he was healthy and producing at the major league level, he would be a bullpen piece. He wouldn't be a starter. The starters right now are looking really good for LA.
Gold standard. I concur. Okay, that's the latest on the Dodgers. Feel free from Chavez Ravine. Jump on board. Tell us what you think. Dodger Blue baseball fans, just analyze your team. Don't dump on little brother in San Diego. Just analyze your team. Tell us what you think they are, strong points and weak points. Fans Forum chat box is open. The other one, this is as bad as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, the Angels, they're in a really bad skid.
Let's talk about the Angels. They're out of gas. Angels look like they're out of leadership. Mike Trout no longer looks to be the same player. And the worst part of it all, the Angels got beat by the Texas Rangers on Wednesday night, 20-3. Ooh. The Angels, it was so bad, they left their starter in to give up 11 runs. They pitched both their first basemen in the 7th and 8th innings of that blowout last night. That's how bad it was, how lopsided it was. That is as bad as I've seen Angel baseball maybe forever. It's only the 3rd time in the history of the franchise, it goes back to 1962, only the 3rd time they've given up 20 runs in a game. Got beat by Texas 20-3. Mike Trout's hitting .233. He's not hitting home runs either. Luckily, they've got some people that are hitting Taylor Ward, hitting Joe Adele, 28, 29, 30 home runs, but they're both hitting in the 230s. Zach Neto really looks gassed. Hoppy looks gassed. They just don't have enough players. And, they lost 99 last season, and suddenly this thing has totally gotten away from them. They lost 9 of their last 12. The other story has to do with Ron Washington. This was something I mentioned within hours after Ron Washington left the Angels in June. I said I feared there was a cardiac issue there. Now we find out he left them on the 27th of June. They did 7 hours emergency surgery on June 30th. quadruple bypass.
Oof.
Now, he is lucky he did not have a massive heart attack. It might have killed him, but they got in there and they found it. But, John, a quadruple bypass, that is significant. He was in the hospital for 4 straight weeks in rehab. He doesn't have his strength back, etc. He's obviously glad to be alive. He said the doctors have saved his life by virtue of what happened when they were on this road trip. But at the end of the day, it's a 73-year-old man that's lucky to be alive. Has to change his lifestyle. Says he will never, ever smoke again. He'd smoke like a chimney. Obviously, the stress, the diet, the hours, the alcohol, etc. It really caught up to him. So with everything else that's gone badly for the Angels, Ron Washington's life has been saved. Thankfully, had he had a heart attack, he probably would have died. Just an absolutely stunning, stunning story there. Boy, you talk about a bad week for Halo baseball it is.
Yeah, it's like the dog days of summer for them. I mean, they're having all these struggles. I'm sure the young players are kind of getting worn out right now, and they're probably thinking, hey, man, we don't have a chance. Maybe they're kind of checking out a little bit.
I don't know if they quit. They just don't have enough people. And they have no pitching at Salt Lake City. They keep bringing up Jack Kuchanowicz, who they brought up here and left in there to give up 11 runs in that debacle in Texas. And he can't pitch at the major league level, yet they keep bringing him back because they have nobody left at this time. So a lot of the rental free agents they tried, 2/3 of them failed. And it's just a disaster.
When is Ron Washington coming back? And if so, when?
He wants to manage next year. At this point, there's been no discussion. Perry Minasian would not even answer the question. And again, that's to be addressed at the end of the season and the offseason. And who knows whether or not if this thing totally craters, totally bottoms out, hell, if they get to 90-plus losses by the time we get to the finish line, whether Minasian's job is going to be safe or not. This has to be as low a moment as I've had under Artie Moreno right now. All the injuries, all the troubled players, all the big contracts that blew up in their face, and then this, to see your manager nearly die on a road trip, and then to see this team just go into a pothole and give up 20 runs to the Texas Rangers, who aren't having a great season themselves.
Well, didn't it just seem like maybe a month ago or so we were feeling a little bit optimistic?
Yeah, they claw their way back towards the 500 mark,
exactly.
And then boom, they go right off the table.
Exactly right.
Just not having enough players. Angel fans, feel free, jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. The only piece of good news is doctors saved the life of Ron Washington. One other note before we get to halftime. This is a story that broke at 5 o'clock this morning. This is an awful story in the National Football League that's got awful implications as it relates to credibility.
Yeah, the Colts story with Jim Irsay.
Let's talk about this. The Washington Post broke this story. This is what investigative journalism is so important in any community. Jim Irsay, as you know, in May, passed away. We had talked extensively about the man, what he meant to the city of Indianapolis, what he meant to the fans, what he meant to the franchise. We talked extensively about his battle with substance abuse, his addictions. He was so different than anybody else because he was so open about the demons he had in his life dating back to when he was young. And of course, he came from an alcoholic family. His father, Robert Irsay, died of alcoholism. So did multiple family members. Jim Irsay was open to the fact he'd been in and out of rehab and it had been a lifetime of struggle. But yet, that being said, he meant a lot to the city of Indianapolis because he donated charities. He started a charitable foundation to help young people fight substance abuse as he was fighting his own substance abuse. While the Washington Post reported today a massive cover-up over Jim Irsay's death. He did not die of natural causes. He died of drug overdoses. He had 3 of them, 2 within a 12-day span. He spent 4 months in one hospital. He had been in and out of 15 different rehab centers. And now we find out that he had affiliated himself with a recovering doctor in Palm Springs who was trying to treat him for addictions, but was prescribing 200 to 400 pills a month for Jim Irsay. And then Irsay would have his private plane go to Palm Springs, 18 trips in 4 months to pick up additional pills. And then the doctor injected him with ketamine, which is a super sedative. but that leads to other complications that could lead to death. That's how he died. And the worst part of this, the doctor went to Beverly Hills when they found Jim Irsay's body in a mansion and decided not to do an autopsy. He told the police, the investigators, he died of natural causes, heart failure, pneumonia, etc. Not necessarily true. He died of overdoses and addictions. He signed off on the medical documents. The Indianapolis Colts CEO, Pete Ward, went out to California to recover the body, brought him back, and they did a cover-up. They have every right to praise Jim Irsay for the man in the community and everything he did, but they did not tell the truth about how Jim Irsay died and how he was in a downward spiral, was totally out of control over the final couple of months of his life. And that's sad. The worst part of it, the rest of the family has now taken over control of the franchise. They were part of this cover-up. How does the NFL not know about the demons and the devils that were living with Jim Irsay over the final couple of years of his life? How do they not know that he was in a rehab hospital for 4 months after nearly dying prior over an overdose? It's just really a sad commentary about a spiraling life out of control. And it's sad because he meant so much to the people of Indianapolis, the state of Indiana, in terms of the Kick Start program that he started for young kids who have been involved with drugs. Just a terrible, terrible tragedy, and a bigger tragedy in terms of the loss of credibility about how the family, how the organization handled it. That's my spin. I read it. I got it at 5 o'clock this morning. Woke me up. I got a ding ding. And I said, you got to read this. And I read it, and it just, it took my heart away. Because I know him. I liked him. I interviewed him. I felt really bad. I knew all about the history of Robert Irsay that became Jim Irsay, that became what I'm now feels a tragedy. John?
It's kind of Shakespearean, isn't it? I mean, it's like part hero, part tragedy, and I got to believe that the NFL leadership must have known something was cooking, right? They just probably didn't want to come down on him heavy. It's not like they have drug tests for owners.
Well, he had been disciplined before because he had been in a DUI auto accident and had been suspended for 6 games, fined, I want to say $500,000 years ago. But again, he had gone in and out of rehab. He seemed to be clean. He seemed to be handling it. And then he kept relapsing here. But it's obvious to me that over the final 5 to 6 months of his life, he had spiraled so deep into a pit. They couldn't get him out of it. And the league either didn't know or didn't want to act because the club and the family surely covered it up. It's a sad ending for a guy that, like I said, meant a lot to a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, he's a very confusing character, because I don't really know the nuances of everything he's done in Indianapolis. I mean, I hear a lot of it from you, and there's been a lot of really good things that he's done. But yeah, what a tragic way to kind of go out.
Terrible, terrible story. If you got an opinion, feel free to be involved. Fans Forum chat box is open. We are at halftime. We are not done. We got a ton of NFL stories to talk about when we come back after halftime. This podcast is brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. John, here's the pen. Just check off the boxes of all the special things that DIXIELINE's involved in that people who have projects in the home or people at work might want to use DIXIELINE for.
Well, they're kind of like, the home improvement gurus here in Southern California. So if you've got to do a remodel of your house, if you're going to be maybe just doing a fix-it, you got to repair your toilet, or a kitchen sink, go to DIXIELINE, talk to the people there. They can help you out. But if you're looking for windows, doors, kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, decking out in the backyard. If you're looking to, build a custom home or maybe a granny flat in the backyard, that's becoming very popular these days. The DIXIELINE folks will really help you out. They got a drive-through lumber yard, 100 years in San Diego. I mean, great friends to San Diegans and to the Lee Hacksaw Hamilton podcast.
You're a do-it-yourselfer? Do it with these guys. DIXIELINE number, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego, plus the additional one in Dana Point. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. We are at halftime. When we're done with this podcast, after we've talked about all the big stories of the day, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, you're taking over this podcast. It's called Fans Forum. John, again, for all the new people on the live stream, how does Fans Forum work?
Okay, so if you're new, we'd love to have you on board. I mean, a lot of our good friends are on board already, but we love seeing new faces, new names. I mean, I look on my list here today, and we've got Matthew and Emmanuel and Eric and Frank and XX Revolution and John and Callan and the practicing guitarist and Carlos. So, hey, if you got a comment or question in the world of sports, drop your take in the live chat, Facebook, X, or YouTube. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
First-time callers, long-time listeners, damn it, get on the phone. That's what I used to say on radio. Now I'll just say, damn it, get on the Fans Forum chat box so you can participate. Reminder, when we're done, I want you to go to my website, check out my website. You won't believe the information I write every day of the week. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. There is nothing in the world that's free. My website is free. So check it out. First thing every morning, you'll be absolutely amazed. Join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You'll get on my email list. We send out multiple emails every day to all of the Insiders members. And of course, you can be impressed then because then you'll see special things that we're working on. Share, tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe on the YouTube channel, you'll get the alert every time we put up additional videos. And John and I probably put up 7 to 10 additional videos every week on my YouTube channel. Join me on my social media team. I want you to be part of the Twitter All-Stars. Just go to X, type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit the follow button. You can then participate in all the mini poll questions that I put out on social media. And I do offend a few people along the way with some of the questions that I ask. So lots of ways for you to be involved in everything we're doing. And again, we really appreciate you being part of this podcast. We hope you'll follow us. Hope you'll give us a thumbs up. That really helps us. Give us a 5-star rating because that helps us a great deal too. John, we just marched through, and when you called me one night, I was lying face down on the couch. I was so exhausted the day of all the roster cuts. I could not.
Oh, yeah.
I could not look at my computer. I could not read any more names. I could not write anymore. I mean, I almost passed out. It was so hectic. But NFL football is just around the corner, and you had to get through roster cutdown day so we could then talk about these things. And that's what we're going to start with here. Let's talk some NFL football.
Yeah, let's talk about the Chargers and who do they keep and who do they let go?
Let's talk about Charger football because this was really different. It was like kids' day at roster cutdown day for the Bolts. They wound up keeping 7 rookies on the defensive side of the football. I did not think they would blow that many veterans out, but we had talked extensively that Joe Horvitz had brought together a phenomenal group of athletes, guys who could run, and a lot of them played in preseason, and they got answers to questions. They decided to keep on their 53-man roster young cornerback Nico Reed of Oregon, young cornerback Eric Rogers from Rutgers, Caleb Murphy, the do-everything linebacker from Division II Ferris State, Kenson Williamson, young player, secondary guy, Stanford, R.J. Mickens, secondary guy, Clemson, Marlo Wax, do-everything linebacker, probably going to be a good special teams player out of Syracuse, and huge wide-body Jamari Caldwell, a defensive tackle. They kept them all on the 53-man roster. To me, that was absolutely amazing. They also decided we're keeping Trey Lance as the backup quarterback, and we're only going to have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. So you got Justin Herbert and you got Trey Lance, and they let go Taylor Heineke, journeyman but kind of trustworthy veteran guy. They let him go, which was a bit of a surprise. They also, in a bit of a surprise to me, and I think a lot of guys who cover the Chargers, they activated Najee Harris. Had not practiced at all, and we're 10 days away from them opening the season in Brazil against Kansas City, and they put him on the active roster. Chargers have only 3 running backs on the roster, and one of them is yet to take a hit in practice. Now, Najee Harris practiced yesterday, practiced today, full pads, just running. No scrimmaging yet, but there's going to have to be some contact to see how he holds up and how he reacts to the eye injury. Amongst the guys that let go, I was surprised. David Sharp, who played a lot in the 2 preseason games, veteran journeyman left tackle, right tackle, played on both sides. They cut him. I was really surprised at that. They cut Rocket Sanders, young running back from Auburn, who I thought was pretty impressive. They tried to bring him back on developmental, and he took off and he signed with the Chicago Bears instead to go on their active roster. They cut Jalen Rieger. He was one of those fourth or fifth wide receivers. He could fly. He could catch balls, also drop passes, but he didn't beat out the two rookies that they had drafted. So Rieger winds up getting cut. They cut Kim Vidal, the running back special teamer. Now they brought him back to the developmental squad, but he's now obviously down the pecking order. They cut the veteran safety Tony Jefferson, who's been a spot player, nickel package, dime package. Somebody gets hurt, they might bring him back off developmental there. They cut the young running back who fumbled a couple of punts, Najee Himes. They cut the other punt returner, Luke Grimm, who fumbled twice in the final preseason game. So some interesting cuts there. They lost linebacker Junior Colson, who's been a part-time starter. He's gone on injured reserve, surgery, season-ending shoulder surgery for him. So at the end of the day, these are the storylines as it relates to the Chargers. Can't believe how many young guys they got in the secondary. Holy cow. And they're all going to play because those are the ones on the roster. So this learning curve is going to be fascinating to see. And I grant you, they did play a lot of snaps in preseason games, but these guys are fast and they can run. Now, can they hold up going against Pro Bowl wide receivers? Because when the bullets start flying next week against the Chiefs, that's going to be different than anything these kids ever experienced. The other thing is they decided in the defensive front, they were going to have wide bodies. They don't have anybody who's been a star at defensive tackle, and you got to stop the run in the league. Now, they believe that Jamari Caldwell and Tierre Tart, who was here as a rotation guy last year, they think they got enough. I just don't see it. I don't understand it. So that's where the Charger lineup, where the Charger roster is right now. I'm not going to say there's question marks because they got skill and they got talent and they got Justin Herbert. Now, they got wide receivers. They got tight ends. Can they protect Justin Herbert? And on the flip side, who's going to stop the run with all these newbies at defensive tackle? They might be wide bodies, but they've really never been to war before. And can you survive with that many kids in the secondary trying to defend Pro Bowl wide receivers who do this? It's going to be fascinating when they play Kansas City on Friday because this roster is not quite what I expected this roster to be. John, you have opinions in the end zone. Go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking about the 49ers in 1982 when they had 3 of their 4 DBs were rookies and they went to the Super Bowl. And so, anything's possible here. But I wanted to ask you, do you think these young kids, did they outright beat the 2 to 3 year veterans for the job, or are the Chargers sort of gambling on their upside?
I think it's a gamble, but they know athletes and they draft speed. And if you got speed, even if you get beat on the first move, you can make up for it because you're quick. But you got to do it. You got to learn how to play when it's real football starting next Friday against the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no doubt. And you and I talked about this over the 3 preseason games. You heard me harp about, man, they got a bunch of kids who could run in the back 7 at linebacker and at the secondary. But now it's the real deal. It's going to be fascinating to see the first game of the season.
Okay, and that's going to be on a Friday night, like a week from Friday, right?
In Sao Paulo, Brazil, against you-know-who, Patrick Mahomes.
And Mr. Swift.
Yeah. Travis Kelce Swift. Oh, there'll be a hyphen in the middle of that name once they get married. Okay, that's all things Charger football. You got an opinion, feel free. You might be in LA, you might be in San Diego, you may love them, you may hate them. We want to hear what you got to say. Fans Forum chat box is open. Because we cover everything, we also cover the other team here in Southern California. How about those Rams?
How about those Rams? They're not the Lambs, they're the Rams.
Tell you what, they look strong. They are ready. Matthew Stafford has now practiced 5 days in a row, has taken contact for the first time. No flare-up whatsoever with the back issue. This is kind of a surprise story to me, but they knew what they were doing all along in terms of the treatment, the hyperbaric chamber, the rehab, etc. What I'm fascinated with, how quickly do all these parts fit together? I just happen to think you got Stafford, and now you got Devontae Adams on one side. You got Stafford, you got Puka Nacua on the other side. You got Stafford, you got 2 young wide receivers who really stood out in preseason, Xavier Smith and Jordan Whittington. Not only do you have the heavy-duty Kyron, the running back.
Williams.
Kyron Williams at the lead back, They have now devised that they're going to use Blake Corum, the Michigan second-year guy, in rotation with Williams. Williams had 350 touches last season, run and catch. That's an awful lot of wear and tear.
Yeah.
They're going to use Corum a lot more because Corum has improved in terms of his pass blocking. And the wild card in this whole offense, this new tight end. This guy looks like he's going to be a load. I'm talking about Terrence Ferguson out of the University of Oregon. He proved he could get open in the preseason games. He proved he could make hard catches. He could prove he could make yards after the catch. I'm really impressed with all the components of the offense they have around what appears to be now a healthy Matthew Stafford. Only concern I have, the left tackle. Now, the left tackle, Alaric Jackson, has just been cleared by doctors to do full contact. He's had blood clot problems. So far, so good. They think this is a complete football team. And on the defensive side of the football, lost in all the conversation about how well they've drafted, F those draft picks. That used to be the phrase.
That's right.
Lost in all the conversation is they got bigger and wider with more experience at defensive tackle. They signed Charger defensive tackle Poona Ford.
Right.
And he's going to be in the middle of a defense where Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, and everybody else they got. And they got a pile of linebackers and guys in the secondary who can run like hell, led by Quentin Lake. Chris Shula is going to go crazy trying to deploy all these guys. He's the defensive coordinator. They are so good defensively. And now they went out and they added a guy as big as the state of Rhode Island to play defensive tackle next to Verse along with Fisk. I mean, they look like they have every component you want on your football team. And the most unique thing, even though they did say F those draft picks a couple years ago, they rebuilt this thing in 2 years' time with draft picks. And the other factor, John, their 4 linebackers, not one of them was drafted. They were scouted. Really? They were brought in from off the street, brought in from other teams, off the waiver wire. They got 4 starting linebackers. None of them were draft picks. How cool was that?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking good, and they got a great head coach, too. I mean, it's going to get the most out of these guys. Now, one name I remember, wasn't his name Steve Avila that came over from TCU?
Is center and guard. He's the anchor inside.
Because I don't really hear much talk about him.
It's not a sexy position.
But he's rock solid right there on the OL, right?
He's had one minor injury in the span of 3 years, and
boom. And then the other name, obviously, he left the team, was Cooper Kupp. Where did he land again?
He's up in Seattle.
Seattle. Okay, interesting. How's it working out for him?
He's there. We'll find out. He's got to stay healthy. He's got a little mileage on him, but he left. Devontae Adams arrived. I'd take that trade off anytime.
Well, anytime, yeah. But, you figure in the NFC West, the Niners are down. The Cardinals are down. I mean, who's the other team in there? Oh, Seattle. They'll be competitive, sort of. It's the Rams division to lose.
Yeah, I think they've got every component. And remember, they came within a snowball of beating the Eagles in Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game last year in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
So Rams are ready a week from now. Fascinating. You're a Rams fan? Feel free. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open for LA Rams fans. By the way, I don't know why you dress the way you dress, but you're always making comments about fashion statements. Rams this morning unveiled their new rivalry uniforms. Everybody has a special uniform on rivalry weekend in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Midnight Mode. It's all black with blue numerals and gold piping. All black helmets with the gold horns. It's really got kind of a vivid look to it.
Yeah, that's unique. I mean, I always love the Deacon Jones look, the blue and white helmet, seeing with the horn. And I think that horn helmet, one of the classic NFL looks.
We ought to see this one. You just punch it up and just Midnight Mode, it's called, and just see the black helmet with the gold horns. So just wow.
It's going to be like the Savannah Bananas for the Chargers. I mean, all these crazy unis.
Okay. Rams fans, Charger fans, Fans Forum chat box is open. John, we're not done with the National Football League because we had other news and notes here. We're going to run through some other headlines. This is why when you try to get hold of me, I was lying face down on the couch about to pass out. There was so much data and information. And by the way, I put it all up on my website. You can read my NFL pages on my website. But go ahead. Where do you want to go next?
Yeah, you're going with a lot of pace today. I like it. Let's go break out the NFL notebook.
I drank a lot of coffee, too. NFL notes. Let's talk about gambles. Let's talk about guys in trouble. Big gamble, Cleveland. Joe Flacco is your starting quarterback. Big gamble, Cleveland. They traded away Kenny Pickett. They sent him to the Raiders. Big gamble in Cleveland. Number 2 quarterback is Dillon Gabriel. The number 3 quarterback is Shedeur Sanders. And with that gamble, this whole week in Cleveland's been everybody bitching that you screwed Shedeur Sanders. You never gave him a shot. Well, that's not true. Shedeur, I thought, was real competitive in that first preseason game, but then he had the oblique injury. He missed a week, came back and played the third game. He didn't look healthy, and he got sacked 5 times and 11 dropbacks. So I'm not sure the condemnation of Cleveland was correct. I also tend to think Dillon Gabriel is much farther ahead of the curve than Shedeur Sanders, though Sanders is probably the better athlete. So keep an eye on that. Raiders insurance policy. I find this one weird. I mean, they got Geno Smith, who's going to play every down unless he goes down, but they trade for Kenny Pickett. Don't understand that at all, but they had to because Aiden O'Connell broke his wrist in the final preseason game and is going to be gone for half the season. So they could have gone other places and gotten other backups, but they must see upside in Pickett. And what I was told, this was not necessarily a Tom Brady decision because he does consult with the Raiders, but they have 2 front office guys that John Spytek brought in when he became the new general manager to work with Pete Carroll. 2 other guys came from Philadelphia, which is where Pickett played.
Interesting.
So that's the insider trading there on the Raiders. Minnesota, you tell me if this is the right move. They got J.J. McCarthy. He's going to be the starter until he can't be the starter, but they make this deal for Carson Wentz. He's been with 6 or 7 teams so far, and he's not the Carson Wentz we saw when he first came into the National Football League. This is a bit of a gamble to me with how the Vikings are conducting their business. And in New Orleans, they went down to the final hours of roster cuts, and then they finally announced who their new quarterback is going to be. And it's not going to be Tyler Shuck.
Spencer Rattler.
It is Rattler, but I thought Shuck outplayed Rattler, and that was a bit of a surprise. Maybe this is going to wind up being rotation because I'm not convinced Rattler, when it's real live fire, has been very consistent. Now, Shuck is a raw rookie. He'd have to prove that he could be consistent too. So that's kind of interesting just to get a handle on that situation. Okay, let's go from that to Kansas City. Rashee Rice, 6 weeks, suspended. Now, supposedly was a hearing scheduled for September 30th, and John and I had talked about this a week ago. You know, the NFL had all this data, all this evidence. Well, Rashee Rice asked for 3 weeks, and the league said absolutely not. What you did was egregious. What you did injured 8 different people, etc. What you did was a felonious incident with the police. The league wanted 10. So they went and they negotiated, and they came up with 6. So he's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season. Now, they got 7 other wide receivers they kept on their roster because they knew he was gone. So we'll find out how good Kansas City can be. But they have an alternative. They may go double tight end. They call it 12 package. They may go double tight end with Noah Gray and Travis Kelce Swift. And then they'll go with Hollywood Brown, and they'll go with a couple of the other young wide receivers that they've got that they can rotate in and out of there. So that bears watching to how different Kansas City is going to be. You know, the other storyline with Kansas City, they think they've solved the left tackle, right tackle problem, which means they're going to be much more explosive down the field for Patrick Mahomes. But Rashee Rice is gone. San Francisco, they got whacked too. Do you have any eligibility left? Could you play wide receiver? San Francisco is in so much trouble with injuries. They lost the only veteran receiver they had that was on the active roster unhurt, DeMarcus Robinson. He's been hit with a 3-game suspension based on a DUI arrest a year ago while he was with the Rams. They have hardly anybody to catch the football. So that's a big issue. They just did re-sign Marcus Scantling, who came back from Seattle, but they got so many injuries in San Francisco. That's a big issue. In Dallas, stare down. I don't know who's going to blink on this, but we are now a week and a half away from the start of the season, and Micah Parsons has not practiced. They're not close at all on solving this ego, this war of words between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. And I don't think Dallas is a great team right now, and Parsons is still holding out there. And then there's Cincinnati. They did blink. Trey Hendrickson got an upgrade on his current contract. So he will play this year in Cincinnati. He got a pay bump from $14 million up to $30 million 1 year only. He has no security. If he gets hurt this season, his free agent ability to go get a mega contract next year is going to be damaged. But he's betting on himself that he'll have another good season. He's getting all this great money. I don't know why the hell the Bengals do this, why they treat their players the way they did, but that's the latest in Cincinnati. You want to start with the Browns? Can you play quarterback? Do you have any eligibility there?
Well, I'll just some quick hits on this. Number one, I'm happy with this whole Kenny Pickett move to the Raiders. Just, you said it doesn't make any sense. To me, it makes all the sense because now they solve the 5 quarterback room in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders is on the roster. Hopefully he'll get a little bit of a taste of action this year. And then the Raiders needed Pickett. So it kind of all sort of worked out. And I like that. Spencer Rattler, in the NFL, he hasn't been very impressive. And so I'm surprised they didn't really go with the rookie from Louisville because everyone was so high on him. The Chiefs, Rashee Rice, 6 weeks. That sounds about right. 10 is too much. He's already been disciplined under the law. And that's got to be the primary. What the team does is secondary. Whatever happened to Ricky Pearsall for the 49ers? He's a receiver. There,
but he's been nicked up. I mean, he'll be the lead guy. There's no Brandon Ayuk. There's no Juwan Jennings. They just brought Scantling back. I mean, Pearsall's going to be the guy, but they had so many injuries. It's unbelievable how many injuries they've had at all these different positions. You talk about a team that could really be in trouble and not have a very good season. Might be Frisco.
Well, yeah, and then they were killed by injuries last year too. And sometimes it's just the way the ball bounces in the preseason. And by the way, the Bengals, they finally sort of kind of made it right for Trey Hendrickson, but at least we're going to get to see him on the field.
Concur. Okay, that one segment here. Now, there's a lot more around the NFL we're going to talk about. And you got a comment on any of these topics? Fire away. Jump into the fans forum chat box. Next group of topics involves the guys that throw the football.
Yeah, quarterbacks for rent.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Now, maybe it's because there's just so many good athletes that have kind of flushed into the NFL. There's so many quarterbacks were put on the street. Tommy DeVito, New York Giants backup quarterback, kind of an electric guy. He came off the bench. He threw 3 touchdown passes in one game. We won 3 games for the Giants. Last year did not have a great season. Then he got hurt. Anyhow, he got cut by the New York Giants. He got cut in the morning, and by lunchtime, he was in New England. Patriots signed him.
Cool.
So Tommy Cutlets, that was his nickname, Jersey guy, Sopranos and all that.
Well, yeah, I remember his agent looked like a mafia guy.
Yeah, like I said, Sopranoville.
Exactly.
So Tommy DeVito gets cut from the Giants. A lot of people in New York were kind of surprised at that. Kyle Trask was let go, and this was really a surprise. He had been in Tampa as a backup for 3 years, but he wanted a chance to play, had not proven that he was going to be any, push Baker Mayfield. So they went a different direction. Kyle Trask has been cut. He's not yet been signed. Taylor Heineke, the Chargers backup, who had done well in Carolina, had done well with the Washington Commanders as kind of a utility guy. He got cut. He's not been picked up at all. Bailey Zappi, he had been in New England, threw the ball a lot as a backup quarterback, went to Kansas City last year, but he's out in the street. He's going to get signed by somebody. Jake Haener, New Orleans, he got let go, and he had been very competitive. But again, if you got 3 guys, you probably don't have any one guy that you think can be a starter. And Haener had to be a starter last season when Rattler got hurt, and Rattler got to play because Derek Carr got hurt. So Jake Haener's been cut. Now, I was told he's going back to their developmental squad. He'll be on the Saints roster there. In terms of other guys, Hendon Hooker, who Detroit waited for 3 years, tried to develop. He's a kid out of the University of Tennessee. He got cut. He just got signed. He's gone to Carolina. And again, he's got to develop his game. Brett Ripien was let go. He's been all over the place, serviceable. He'd been in Denver, had played a little bit there. He got cut loose. And Easton Stick, the ex-Charger backup, went to Atlanta. He played a lot in Atlanta, and he had good games. He had one game he was 13 for 15. Another game he was 15 for 18, throwing the ball down the field. And the last game he played, 3 for 195. They cut him. So he's not been signed yet either. So it is really something how many quarterbacks got chopped. Tommy DeVito, to me, and Trask out of Tampa. Those were the surprise names to me.
Well, with DeVito gone, does that make Jackson Dart the number 2?
Yep.
Yeah, but Russell Wilson won, Dart too. I mean,
Mhm.
Dart showed pretty well in the preseason, right?
Yes, I have real flashes.
Yeah, I know DeVito had his moments too when he was starting. The other name on the list was Brett Rippon, and he was a Boise State guy,
Yes.
the son of the former Redskins quarterback. But I was shocked to see him in your best 15 this morning because I forgot that he was even in the league.
He's been in and out, on and off rosters. Hasn't played a lot as an NFL guy. He's probably been in the league 5 to 6 years. He's moved around from different teams, but he's smart. But he's kind of a super utility guy, and there are a lot of super utility guys out there.
But isn't it just generally interesting how teams will cut players and then boom, they get picked up by someone else? I mean, everyone's kind of hovering over the waiver wire, looking for names to pick up.
Well, the only difference, you pick them up, you got to put them on your active roster. The Chargers lost 3 of their guys that they cut that they wanted to resign, including Rocket Sanders. He goes to the Bears because he's going to be on the 53.
Well, good for him.
So,
I mean,
I really liked him. I was very impressed with him. I thought he had a chance, and that's a risky run. Can you get a guy through waivers with the hope you can re-sign him? That's probably why the Browns decided to keep Gabriel 2 and Shedeur 3 is they didn't want to run the risk of losing somebody.
But, Gabriel looks solid as a number 2. I mean, I think you got to be happy with that. And then, Shedeur is your lotto ticket.
Yeah, and he's the one you're in develop because there's a lot of athleticism there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Fans Forum, jump in there if you want to talk about that. There were some other big names that were chopped loose here. Let's just quickly roar through this.
The axe falls.
Yeah, let's go through some veteran names that you would remember. I was surprised. Chargers starting defensive tackle Morgan Fox, who went to Atlanta, he got cut. He was supposed to be a starter. They gave him a $3 million signing bonus, and they just cut him. Now, he's not been picked up by the Chargers yet. Maybe something will happen between now and early next week, and he gets back in here, but he was cut. We've talked extensively. If you act like a jackass long enough, nobody's going to want to touch you.
Yeah.
His name is Deontay Johnson. Do you remember him? Steeler wide receiver, Baltimore wide receiver, Carolina wide receiver, Cleveland wide receiver. He's been cut again. He got cut by the Browns.
What did he do?
He was a problem player. Everywhere he's been a problem player.
Just big mouth or?
Yeah, and just lack of professionalism and lazy and not very productive, and I want my money. And he falls under the whole entourage of bad guys that started in Pittsburgh became divas, and Mike Tomlin got rid of them all. He's out of the league.
Tomlin knows something.
Exactly. So Deontay Johnson's gone. Mecole Hardman, wide receiver, Kansas City. He's been in and out of there a bunch of years. Had injuries, bounced around. He just got cut by Green Bay, which is kind of a surprise. There's a report that maybe the 49ers are going to take a look at him. He's fast. He can run routes. He can return kicks, but he's moved around a lot. The last number 1 pick of Bill Belichick is gone. And this was a high number 1 pick New England Patriots made for Cole Strange, offensive lineman. He got cut. Now, he got picked up immediately. I believe it was by the Chicago Bears. But that was the last pick. Another guy gone, Cam Akers, pretty good dart and dash running back. Started with the Minnesota Vikings, had some injuries, has moved around. He got cut. He doesn't have a job. Carson Steele, big back UCLA, went to Kansas City 2 years ago. Kind of became a special teams guy, big physical guy, but fumbled the ball too much. I was surprised. Kansas City just cut Carson Steele. Robert Woods, really good wide receiver, been with the Rams, a bunch of other teams. He got cut loose by Pittsburgh. Scantling, the wide receiver, used to be with the Packers. He was in Seattle. He got cut, but he just went to San Francisco. I don't understand this rationale. Hunter Renfrow, the ex-Raider.
Yeah.
Really good route runner, tough guy, little guy, all this. He led Carolina in receiving, and they cut him. He hasn't been signed yet either. Good running back in Denver, young guy. I think he went to Notre Dame. Audric Estime, a big power back. I thought he'd do well. He had injuries last year as a rookie. Denver cut him loose with the hope they get him back on developmental. He got picked up immediately by the Philadelphia Eagles. Simi Fehoko, wide receiver out of either BYU or Utah. Good hands guy, big rangy guy. Played with the Chargers. He just got cut by Arizona. Massive left tackle Trent Brown. Guy had started forever. Houston Texans. He was let go too. So, like I say, there's a lot of veterans. The axe fell hit a lot of guys. The Morgan Fox thing is the one that just blew me away. So he has not been signed by anybody yet. So, John, that's why I couldn't respond to when you tried to text me, and I didn't answer phones because I was lying face down after writing everything on my website, just about passed out. Roster cut down days are so hard.
Well, imagine being one of those guys, that got cut and, you finally are in the NFL, or maybe you were playing in the NFL. You weren't giving it as good of a focus as you could have. And now you get cut and maybe you're not going to get picked up and your dream has dissolved.
Well, the only thing is, though, everybody was at 90 and you got to cut to 53. But see, most everybody then brings back 16 of the guys they cut. So it's not really 90 to 53, it's 90 to 69. So a lot of these guys get phone calls back. Now, they don't get their big payday because you're on a fixed salary or you're on the taxi squad. You'd be bitching and moaning and being a capitalist about that. But so a lot of these guys do bounce back. But is it a numbers game? Is the next step up way too hard for you? Probably. Did you get nicked? Did you miss a lot of practice time because you had a minor injury? Those are all things that kind of fall into the equation. But I used to tell young players, it does not matter. Go to camp, do all the things they need you to do, get yourself on tape, because everybody has tape on everybody. And that's why Rocket Sanders of the Chargers, who I thought was going to make this team, he got picked up within hours by the Bears, because he showed a lot of things. That's what camp's all about, is opportunity to get yourself on tape.
Hey, guess what? We're getting some breaking news here from the fans forum, guys. Let me just put it up here quick. It says here that Micah Parsons has been traded to the Packers, 4 years, $188 million.
Wow. That had been rumored out there, and Jerry Jones said he was not going to take an offer for Micah Parsons, but Green Bay's front office had said they were going to make deals, that they had all these multiple picks and they had cap space and they were going to do transactions. So Dallas, non-playoff team. Dallas, how do you trade Micah Parsons, one of the best linebackers in the league?
Yeah, that guy's all over the field. I mean, he's talented.
But it's Jerry's team. Jerry be holding a press conference every day talking about his team.
Well, the Packers got to be thrilled. I mean, I wonder what they got in the package.
Well, it's got to be multiple number ones, etc.
Okay, all right.
Well, thank you for the input. The rumor had been out there, but Jerry kept saying, "I'm not taking offers for this guy."
Is it going to be like the Herschel Walker deal, Dallas Vikings?
Well, that was 11 for 1 back in the day. Okay, Axe Falls. We got other topics on the table. By the way, there is football tonight. It's called college football. John?
Yeah, college football. We got the Aztecs kicking it off.
San Diego State at home. Second season, Sean Lewis, SDSU, 3 new quarterbacks, 3 new running backs, looking for help at wide receiver to complement Jordan Napier. Intangible, Aztecs, 3 veterans in the offensive line that they're really hoping are going to stabilize what was a very up and down group last season. Got an awful lot of depth there in terms of strength of numbers. What I like about the O-line is they now have layers of guys. They got freshmen, they got sophomores, they got transfers, and they got seniors and upperclassmen. So one thing Sean Lewis has been able to do is layer how many different classes of offensive linemen he has. 9 starters back on defense. Vastly underrated Gabe Placentia, field goal kicker. It's going to be fun. They play University of Stony Brook. That's a 1AA school. They should beat their brains out. Next week, I looked at the schedule this morning. I said, enjoy this first week, because next week they go to Washington State and play a Pac-12 team.
On the road.
And then they get Cal the week after, coming back in here. So we'll see what the Aztecs do. We'll be watching it and covering it and talking about it, going to the press conferences about it too. Now, some really other good games. What a great first weekend. Don't you dare walk away from the TV on Saturday morning. Number 1, Texas versus number 3, Ohio State. That is Arch Manning, all things the Manning family. He is going to start. Sarkisian's got a lot of confidence in him. Texas is obviously loaded with skilled people. So I'll be interested to see how good Arch Manning is right out of the gate. He, of course, replaces Quinn Ewers. And Ohio State, now they've got maybe the best receiver in the country in Jeremiah Smith, but the Buckeyes have a true redshirt freshman in Jalen Sayin from Carlsbad, who threw, I think, all of 12 passes last season. He's a starting quarterback for the Buckeyes, but Ohio State is a factory, and they got a good coach in Ryan Day. So that 1 versus 3 will be fun. We got Clemson in action against LSU. And this might be a matchup of Heisman Trophy candidate quarterbacks. Clemson's quarterback is Cade Klubnik. This guy's a third-year starter. Didn't want to transfer. Has really evolved into a thrower. So that's for Clemson. And Garrett Nussmeier, who put up tremendous numbers last year for Brian Kelly, he's a starting quarterback for LSU. Notre Dame's got a new quarterback. Now, they got a lot of talent there, but C.J. Carr has never done this before. He will be the starting quarterback, and they'll play Miami. Now, Miami's got a quarterback who I think subscribed to the John Belushi Animal House movie. You know, remember John Belushi saying, 7 years at college gone to waste. Carson Beck is a starting quarterback at Miami. Carson Beck was at the University of Georgia for 6. And Carson Beck.
Well, got that COVID year in there.
Yeah. And an injury year too. Anyhow, so Carson Beck is a starting quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes. So Notre Dame, Miami, that's going to be an interesting game. So those are the flashpoint games this week. 1 versus 3. What a way to start the season. Texas versus the Buckeyes. So,
yeah. I mean, these are names that we've been hearing a lot about, and you don't get to see them in preseason. So let's see what this is going to be like. Catholics against the convicts again. Notre Dame, Miami. I like seeing that on the list. But 1 versus 3, I mean, it's going to be fabulous because both these QBs, I mean, it's, you know, Sayan is like a local story here.
Sure.
But he's earned it, you know, on one of the best programs in the nation. So that'll be terrific. But tonight is Aztecs night. And look at you. You come rolling in with your red shirt and your black slacks, looking sharp, going to go hang out in the press box today. I mean, it's going to be a fun game. I mean, but last time they played a one AA school or FCS school.
It was last year, opening day.
Yeah, it was that Texas Commerce game.
East Texas State Commerce, whatever the hell it was called.
That was not a very pretty game.
Well, the first half was. In the second half, they kind of warmed down and they wound up beating their brains out in the second half. But again, there was so much expectation, and then it went off the track. And they wound up losing 6 in a row at the end of the season. They couldn't move the football, and then the defense caved in because they had been on the field all year long. But this is a new year. It's a clean piece of paper, and you know, Sean Lewis, I'm going to say he got upset at me because I asked a question at his press conference about autopsies. When you did an autopsy of what went wrong last year, and what went wrong was really bad. I think he got upset that I used the word autopsy. But at the end of the day, that's the way I viewed it. It was a deathly bad season. And he stood up and said, I needed to reevaluate myself. The one thing that I've been impressed with is that he has spent this year teaching and preaching unity. They've done more things in terms of unity for these Aztec players to kind of bond this thing. And the fact that he's got some more continuity. Now he's got second-year guys that were his guys, and he brought in another boatload of transfers, and they're going to be here for multiple years. He does not have very many one-year rentals this year in this year's collection of transfers. So hopefully the results are going to be better, and we'll see. Schedule, I mean, Washington State's hard. Cal is a Pac-12 team, even though they're in the ACC. They're going to get Boise State here at the end of the season. They got to go to Fresno, and Fresno looks like they got a lot of firepower. So that we'll just have to see how quickly they can grow this with the new quarterbacks. Because a year ago this time, I just wasn't sure that Danny O'Neil could be the guy, but I thought the kid at quarterback, I thought he played really well. He did not turn the ball over. He took some big-time shots. He just hung in there. And he made plays, but they didn't have enough players around him. Outside of him and Marquez Cooper, they had virtually no offense. So we got to see if these running backs led by Lucky Sutton are going to be the real deal. And we got to see if he can develop consistency at the other wide receiver spots to go with Jordan Napier. And can they play tempo football? Because they did not play Aztec fast last year because the guys averaged a lot of 3 and outs. They averaged 21 points a game, which isn't a lot for an offense that's supposed to be going down the field. So it's right there in front of them. They do have the 9 starters back on defense, so I'm quietly optimistic this year is going to be better. It's got to be better than last year.
Yeah, but it's a new day. It's a new day for the Aztecs. Aztec Nation are fired up. You know, I mean, the hardcore loyal fans are fired up for today. You see them on social media. But you know what? The other kind of a tangent on Aztecs, did you see that? What was his name? Cooper McDonald got picked up by the Chiefs.
Yes.
I mean, he was essentially like a walk-on, you know, equivalent, you know, for the NFL camp. He makes the team. I know Atlanta picked up one of the Aztec receivers. So, you know, they're putting some guys into the league. That's good. But as far as Lewis is concerned, yeah, that unity message is great, especially for retention to keep him out of the portal. And then I liked his candidness, saying, I wasn't really being, I guess, true to his own values, in his first year, and he's going to make some course corrections. So I like seeing that honest look, not the coach speak, but the real speak.
Yeah, like I told you last week when I came in here, his first 2 press conferences have really been passion plays. I mean, I was pretty impressed. It takes a lot to impress me beyond coach speak.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll give him a chance. You're an Aztec fan, friend, alum, feel free. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. One final group of topics here before we go to your segment of this show. Go ahead, John.
Okay, let's go to the high-speed sports wire Del Mar Pacific Classic at the top.
Oh, I like horse racing. Love Del Mar. This is so cool. Pacific Classic is Saturday afternoon. Journalism, one of the great 3-year-olds, has not run all the Triple Crown races. Journalism is going to run here late Saturday afternoon in the $1 million Pacific Classic field of 8. Preakness winner, Haskell Stakes winner. So you got journalism, you've got fierceness, who finished last year second in the Breeders' Cup Classic, coming in as a 4-year-old. That's going to be a great challenger. And you got another Baffert horse, Nios. So those are 3 big names, but journalism is the one to watch in the Pacific Classic. Let's talk golf. This is quite a story. Keegan Bradley, who's had himself collectively, I think, one of the better years on the Pro Tour of his entire career. He is the captain of the Ryder Cup team, and the captain gets to make 6 choices to fill out the roster aside from the other guys who already have qualified of where they finished in the point standings. Keegan Bradley had the chance to put himself on the team, and he bypassed it. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. My responsibility as a captain. And the captain has a lot of things he has to do in terms of studying the matchups, the courses, and who to match against the Euros. He's decided not to play. There's only been one playing captain. It was in 1963. It was Arnold Palmer. So Keegan Bradley, and the guys were pushing, saying, you've had a great year. You deserve to be on this as a playing captain. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. So he went off in a different direction. He named Justin Thomas, who's had a good back half of the season. Colin Morikawa will join as a captain's choice, and Patrick Cantlay, who obviously had that phenomenal finish in the championships this past week. So those guys are going to play, filling out the rest of the roster there. Auto racing, Formula One. If you make a U-turn in the middle of the highway, you can get arrested, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Cadillac F1, which is the new team that's being formed, going to run in 2026, they had told everybody for a full calendar year, we will hire a named European driver and we will hire an American. We want to develop American drivers and bring them over to F1. This week, they did a U-turn. They signed Sergio Perez out of Mexico and Val Bottas out of Finland. Between them, those 2 veteran drivers have won 16 races on F1. They bypassed Colton Herta, who is probably the most qualified young American maybe to go to F1. Now, Herta does not have what they call a super license. You have to have a super license, which means you test all this. You've got some experience, and you have to pass all these tests to get your super license. He's not at that point yet. And Cadillac decided, we're not going to make this an experimental season. We want to be as competitive as we can. It's hard enough to begin. Ground zero, new chassis, Ferrari engines, new team. It's really hard. Said, we're going to try to make this faster in terms of growth, and we're going to bring Perez in and bring Valtteri Bottas in. So those are the 2 guys. Now there's a report that Colton Herta is going to go to Europe and is going to negotiate with an F2 team, which is the second level down.
Okay.
To try to run and go through his learning curve in F2 and qualify for a super license there.
Okay.
So that kind of bears watching. But this was a stunner because Cadillac had said, we want an American flag on the grid, and it's not going to happen there. How hard is it? Tell you what, I just found this out. Team Haas, which is the other American team, has been in F1 since 2006. F1. They don't have a podium. They don't have a win. They've never been in the top 3. They started from absolute ground zero, just like Cadillac is starting from ground zero. That's how hard it is to win in F1 against the Mercedes and the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, etc. So I'm not speaking your language.
No. It kind of confirms what we know about F1, because if you don't get the pole position, it's hella hard to pass.
Yeah. And you get on the grid, it's hard to finish in the top 3 in the podium. Think about that. Team Haas, which has got big bankroll, has never been on a podium.
Well, it's always Team Red Bull and Mercedes and, the same old guys.
You give me the dumbass look like you didn't know what language I was speaking.
No, I was just thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay. Last topic on the table, Team USA. He's coming. Christian Pulisic will be here on Monday. Christian Pulisic will lead an entourage of veteran players that will come for September week workouts with Team USA before they get ready to play South Korea and Japan in the next group of friendlies. Pulisic will be there. Gio Reyna will be there. Tim Weah. Sergio Dest, who's coming off injury, will be there. They brought back the Mexican-American Alejandro Zendejas. They've just brought back Josh Sargent, who's had a blazing start in the English Premier League. He's agreed to use this window to come practice with Team USA, on top of, obviously, all the young guys who played. Now, there are some injury guys who are not going to be on the pitch next week with Team USA. Phil Balogun is still not totally recovered. Malik Tillman is not recovered. Anthony Robinson is coming off surgery, and Haji Wright's been hurt. But they will have almost the full complement of American players as they begin this practice window to get ready for the friendlies against South Korea and Japan. So all the hellacious things that were written and said about Christian Pulisic have been now swept aside because these guys are going to come here. And one last soccer note. Manchester United. You hear about this? English Premier League?
Yeah.
Okay. So Manchester United spent an unbelievable amount, $193 million in transfer fees to rebuild their team. They finished 16th last year in the standings, which is almost relegation.
Yeah.
So they've tried to fix it. So they're 0-3 out of the gate. They played their first game against Arsenal in the first game of the Premier League and played really well and almost beat them. But now they've lost 2 in a row. They played in what's called the English Cup middle of this week. They lost to a team called Grimsby. Grimsby is in League 2, which is the equivalent of AA.
Yeah.
Grimsby beat Man U in the English Cup, beat them in a 13-man shootout. They were there forever, taking penalty shots at the end of the game. They beat Manchester United. That would be the equivalent of the San Antonio Missions AA Farm Club coming to Petco Park and beating the Padres.
Or maybe like Appalachian State beating the Wolverines.
Yeah, in language you would understand.
Yeah.
They are beside themselves north of London in Manchester, England. They're going crazy that Manchester United could lose to Grimsby. Grimsby is a small fishing village up in the northeast corner of England that plays in League 2, which is the equivalent of AA soccer. Just amazing.
Grimsby sounds like something out of a Harry Potter movie.
You got it.
It's just like Gryffindor. I think that's what I'm probably thinking about.
I apologize to everybody for really reaching for a unique and different topic here.
No, it's good. It's good. And the whole Pulisic thing almost seemed like an unnecessary drama, but it's nice to get him back. But, one of the players, of the C, D, and E level players that were on Team USA was Diego Luna. Mm-hmm. And he was scoring some goals, in the Gold Cup. Have you heard anything? Is he going to make the squad?
I don't know if he's on. I haven't seen his name on this roster. There were a couple guys who were left off this roster, so I've not seen his name on this September roster. Every time they get into a training period where you can bring your players back from their international club, they put out the list of invitees. I don't think he was on this last list that I saw.
That's too bad. I mean, some of these guys, I think they deserve a shot. The Cadillac racing thing was interesting to me. I mean, because yeah, you say you want to have an American driver, and I get it, but yeah, they deserve the right to change their mind, especially if it's not kind of working out the way they want. But that's always been this thing about America teams or American drivers in F1. So we'll see how it all sorts out. But I like his strategy. Go to F2 and work your way up. The Del Mar, that Del Mar Pacific Classic logo, look at that.
Yep.
That's cool. I mean, not only you got the blue there to kind of represent the surf and the turf, but it's a cool blue, just like the Del Mar is as cool as ever, right? So that looks like a knight on a chess piece.
Yes.
So that is a slick looking logo. Hopefully the Pacific Classic lives up to that.
Well, it probably will. I think journalism is such a power horse. I don't know if anybody's going to beat journalism, but this is the scene setter. This is the preview for what's going to happen in November when the Breeders' Cup Classic comes here, because then you've got all the Triple Crown horses are going to be here, and as long as journalism doesn't have any setbacks, journalism can be in the field. The Breeders' Cup Classic at Del Mar is going to be unbelievable.
I mean, yeah, that's huge.
Yes.
And it was interesting. I mean, when I was learning about horse racing, moving down here to San Diego, you didn't get a sense of like what was the major league tracks and what were the sort of the minor league tracks. But then because I always think of, Preakness and the Kentucky Derby, but there used to be in Southern California, Del Mar, Santa Anita, and Hollywood were the three big ones, but Hollywood's gone, right?
Right. And then Golden Gate shut down in San Francisco. I mean, horse racing has gone through a crush.
Yeah, but it's cool to see that Del Mar still is legit. You got Bing Crosby out there and Jimmy Durrani and all those throwbacks to the past.
Oh, there's so much tradition. You just walk around that track, and I mean, it's beautiful. It's unbelievable. You walk around the track, and the tradition and the history, it's really something. Okay, this podcast is brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they got materials. You want ideas, they can be your best friend. DIXIELINE Lumber. Just go to DIXIELINE.com. See all the things they have to offer. We got a ton of people stacked up here. John, ready, set, go.
Okay, let's go to our friend Alex here. And Alex says, let's get this up on the screen. How come it's not going? Okay, we'll come back to Alex in a moment. Well, wait a minute. Oh, no, I can't. I'm going to have to read these. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's go here to Jerome, since this is the first one that clicked and it was actually shown. Hacksaw, can we please get your thoughts on J.D. Wicker's performance at San Diego State? I don't think he makes any attempts at building relationships in the community or with local business leaders.
I think he's done a good job in what's a very, very tough set of circumstances. I mean, COVID is one thing. Having his football program go on the road for 2 years, the whole uncertainty about Pac-12, what happened, the demise of the conference, then the decision we're going to exit Mountain West. He's had a lot of things on his plate. He's not as, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess I'm kind of disappointed because I always got along with all those ADs. I was able to talk to all these ODs. He's just kind of distant. He's got a lot of things on his plate and a lot of responsibility. But at the end of the day, we have a nationally ranked basketball program. They got to fix this football program. I don't agree with everything they've done as it relates to the layout of the stadium and of the pricing of the stadium. And I'm so disappointed. I get Aztec people that are really upset at me, and I don't care. I'm telling you what I think based on my knowledge. These fans have turned their back on the program. And I think part of the blame is to blame for San Diego State. They need to have done a better job wrapping their arms around these displaced Charger fans, and they really have not done a very good job there. That being said, we'll see if they can turn the corner. I know Sean Lewis. I've known him. I know what he did at Colorado. I was absolutely stunned that Deion Sanders hired him, but I knew what he had done at Kent State. I thought he was good. I thought he's going to wind up being a Big Ten head coach. But they got to flip this. They got to make football viable because they need football to be viable to complement everything else they got there. So if I'm giving him a letter grade right now, probably give him a letter grade of B to B minus, and maybe he's learning on the job. I am surprised he's still here. He was up for the Mississippi State job, and he went to Mississippi State. That's his alma mater. I really thought when that job opened in the SEC that he was going to go home, but he elected to stay here because the job here, as he told me at that point, the job was not done. So it's been a tough road for these guys, and we're not home free because, even though they're going to the Pac-12, this is not the Pac-12 that we knew for decades upon decades. But let's give him a little bit more space and see if this football coach can turn this corner, which make the overall program better. Your turn.
Well, Wicker got the stadium built, right? I mean,
but it was all put in place. But
it was under budget and on time, wasn't it? I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, so it makes me wonder, what is the job description of an athletic director? I mean, because there's the business side, you got your big time money sports, you got all the other sports. I mean, what's the AD's job, the number one priority?
I think right now it's more business than it is athletics. And this is a byproduct of the NIL and transfer portal and all that. And again, he can't control what's going on at the Pac-12 level. I mean, they thought they were going to the Pac-12 and the whole thing fell apart. Now, some people have the opinion that they really screwed up an opportunity to go to the Big 12 because evidently there was conversation and there might have even been a potential offer, but it didn't. For some reason, it didn't happen. But I don't know, Big 12 doesn't make a hell of a lot of geographic, emotional sense to me. Maybe you get excited about a rivalry with Iowa State, but I can't get excited about it.
Well, maybe they'll play Iowa State in Ireland.
Yeah, anything's possible. So let's just see what happens with football and if they can flip this football program and make it better. But he was loyal. He stayed here when he had a chance to go home. And when that story first leaked out, I said, he's gone. He'd just be another guy that was here today, gone tomorrow. But he stayed. So I'll give him some credit for that.
All right. Okay.
We move on.
We move on. Okay, now we'll get to Alex. He goes, hey, I'm a 49er fan, but the Packers are going to be a force this year. That's crazy. They got a dog with Parsons. Keep up the good work, guys. Love the show.
Thank you. Well, this rumor had been out there, and then Jerry Jones yesterday through cold water said no. But obviously the divorce was so embittered that he's wound up going to Green Bay. So that's a hell of a move for the Green Bay Packers. And Dallas, I don't know what Jerry thinks he's doing at Dallas because I don't think they've got much of a team. I mean, they got receivers and they got Dak. I don't think they got a running game. And you don't have Micah Parsons. That's a cornerstone of your defense. Unless we'll have to check if we can. We have the ability here, if he got 3 number 1 draft picks, to see what the compensation was in that trade. But Dallas is in trouble.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Philly is the dominant team in that division.
And here comes Washington.
And Washington is improving. And then the Giants are looking a little bit better too, right? So, yeah, this is going to be a down year for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. Well, we're a week and a half away from the start of the NFL. Yay.
Okay, here's someone's taking a shot at you here, Hacksaw.
Again?
Okay, and this is from the one Mr. Smith. He goes, Hacksaw, you defend your inappropriate contributions in press conferences and condemn others. I love your work, but look at yourself before others for once, bro.
I'm not quite sure I understand.
I think it's the Aztecs.
What's my inappropriate contribution? You ask the pointed questions that need to be asked. I'm not here to sit here and sing kumbaya with every coach I interview. I'm here to ask the pointed questions. I mean, if you're making reference to San Diego State, I happen to like Sean Lewis. I know Sean Lewis. I knew him before he got here. But I have to ask the questions about what the hell happened. So I'm not sure I buy the critique of my inappropriate questions. What do you want? Please tell me what you want covering your team. Can't be cheerleaders because that's not the essential part of our job. Our job is to cover it and to talk about it and be successful and hope you have a 3,000-yard passer. But geez, when you're averaging 20 points a game and you can't score and your defense caves in, can't sit here and cheerlead. No, Mr. Smith, clarify what your gripe is.
Well, it's kind of like, the White House press conferences where they're all like yelling and screaming, but I enjoy going on the Go Aztecs YouTube channel and watching the video of the press conference.
Oh, okay.
And the camera is just on Sean Lewis or on Brian Dutcher.
Sure.
But then you'll hear the questions in the back, and I can always hear your voice.
Well, I'm right there in the front. I sit on the front row.
But they never show you guys on video.
No.
Maybe because the room is empty, or what's going on?
Well, that's part of it. There's not very many of us that go cover this thing on a regular basis.
But on the basketball, they probably get a lot more, right?
Yeah. At certain times of the year, et cetera. But you got to, I don't know, Mr. Smith's gripe is you have a responsibility to ask the pointed questions.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Sean he was bothered by my use of the word autopsy. Well, what are you going to do after what do you call evaluating 3 and 9 when you sold us on Aztec Fast and we knew your track record, this was going to be great? You got to ask the pointed questions, get the answers.
Well, you gotta have a serious conversation, like an exit interview, where what happened in the past season, what went right, what do we need to improve on? And yeah, I think autopsy's fine.
And I thought when I came back from the last press conference, I think I was rather excited when you said, "Yeah, passion play." I thought I was pretty impressed.
So it's funny because you tell it like it is, but you share some of the enthusiasm that you get from those press conferences. But you put the facts on the table.
Mr. Smith, I hope you become a regular. Stay with us. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Matthew. And again, thanks for the contribution, Matthew. He goes, hey, Manchester United has become so embarrassing. Losing to Grimsby is like the Dodgers losing to the El Paso Padre team.
Yeah, I concur. I mean, I read some stuff in the London Times. They're just those columnists are just losing their mind over there. The Manchester fans losing their mind. I mean, it's been such a long period of time since Man U was really good, and they spent $193 million on 3 transfer players. And I got up and I watched them 2 weeks ago in their first match of the season against Arsenal, and they nearly beat Arsenal. I thought, oh, these guys are back. And then they go out and lose the second game, and then they lose to a League Two opponent. Just they are going crazy in Manchester, England right now about how bad they are.
Well, why are they playing a level 2 League 2 opponent? I mean, they don't mix them in the regular season, do
It's
they?
the English Cup, and everybody who has a top team in the English Cup gets to play in this league.
Well, okay.
It's a year-long knockout tournament, and they play it on Tuesday and Wednesday during the season.
Well, this is like the Super Bowl for those Grimsby guys.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Man U, they were dominant like 10, 20 years ago, right?
And with Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, it's a much different team now.
Oh, they've gone through this, and the opinion is that their academies have failed, and they paid so much money and got in such debt, and they've been bought, and they've cleaned house. They fired everybody that worked there. And then I really thought they had such a interesting off season. They kept writing checks. I mean, $193 million in transfers. That's a phenomenal amount of money to spend on 3 players. But boy, now luckily it's a long season. Hopefully they're going to get better and better, but nobody's happy right now in Manchester right now.
Well, which sport overall generates the most revenue? Is it the English Premier League or the NFL?
Well, the NFL here, EPL there.
But I'm just wondering if you add it all up worldwide, I think the EPL is a bigger deal. There's more money going through that system.
Yep. But the NFL's raking in the dollar bills.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, printing dollar bills in the hallway. Okay, next one.
Okay, let's go here to Richard. He goes, hey, loved you in the Valley of the Sun and on the Mighty 690. Glad I found you again. My question is, do you think the new Cadillac F1 team will score a single point with Perez and Bottas?
I think it's impossible because they're starting from absolute ground zero, and they won't have their engines. They're using Ferrari engines, I guess, for the first year. And then obviously they're building the chassis in Silverstone, England. I know this because I follow F1. But it's hard. I mean, the prime example, look at what has happened to all these other non-big name teams. Look at what's happened to Haas, how long it's been for Haas, and they've never gotten to a podium, never finished in the top 3, never, much less won a race, and they've gone through series of drivers. And all these other ones, Aston Martin and Sauber, and they just hardly ever score any points. Now there's a lot of money there. They are making money, but it's just so hard from a technical aspect. The racing is so complicated. The structures, the setups of cars. I mean, you have a great driver like Lewis Hamilton goes from one team to another, and he can't get on the podium because they can't get his car dialed in. That's how complicated it is. So now you're asking Cadillac, the ones that Andretti, they're the ones that created this idea, this team, that Cadillac F1 shows up from ground zero, day one. They won't score a point, may not score a point for a couple of years. It is really, really hard.
I still have a hard time matching Cadillac and F1, because I like the Cadillac Eldorado, something that your old uncle used to drive. And now they're racing in F1. It's unbelievable. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be fun watching to see what kind of growth they have. But all I know is the track record of F1, how fiercely competitive and combative it is. Okay.
Keep on going. Let's go to Carlos. Hey, Lee, why do you keep reporting fake news? The Dodgers never lost to the Rockies 3 in a row. They split a 4-game series last week. The Dodgers have beaten Colorado 8 of 12, 667 winning percentage.
Didn't they lose a combined 6 games in a row at one stretch to the Rockies and Angels? I think they did. Now, maybe it wasn't this past week that was part of that, but there was a stretch there. I think there were 6 losses in a row.
It's not fake news, man. It's an alternative fact. But I think to your point, I think we're talking about different windows of time.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go here to the practicing guitarist. He goes, hey, the playoff rotation is a concern. Is Pivetta game 1 caliber? Which Darvish will show up? Cease is a mess. King is not 100% healthy. A great bullpen will only go so far, especially in a 7-game series.
Yeah, they got a month. They got a month left, and yeah, I'm concerned about where they are. because outside of Pivetta, there's not a lot that you can rely on a consistent basis. I mean, for a wide variety of reasons. I mean, if Michael King was vintage Michael King and Darvish was Darvish as we've known Darvish to have been, then you would have said, yeah, this is a really good rotation, but they're not. And Cease is just not Cease. He's not what he was last year. He had that chunk of time after they fixed his mechanics. He had an ERA, I want to say, it might have been 2.39 in the middle of last season for like 12 starts. That's phenomenal. He's been nowhere near that in terms of consistency. And yet, Dylan Cease will go out there, he'll strike out 9 guys. But he'll also go out there and won't get through the 4th inning. He's had more bad starts than he's had good starts this season. And I just don't understand the inability of him to harness mechanics and repeat delivery, because I think that's what this whole thing is all about. It's bizarre. They got it now. They still have a month to figure it out, but there's nobody waiting in the wings. And I as much as Michael King is such a warrior, you just don't know if his shoulder's going to hold up. That becomes an issue. So suddenly they got some cracks in the foundation. Yeah, the cracks in the Dodger foundation. Hell yes, that bullpen. I can't trust that bullpen. Dodger fan, is anybody out there from LA wearing blue that thinks you can trust the bullpen? I'm not sure of that right now, but the Dodgers are really good in a bunch of other areas.
Oh yeah. Well, they're the defending champs. I mean, so, you got to give props to them. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, first of all, when the Padres got Cease, I was like blown away, like, because I knew he was legit. But now I'm wondering, maybe that's why the White Sox traded him. Maybe they saw this little bit of inconsistency. But, you get into the playoffs. First round is 3 games. Second round is 5. NLCS is 7. World Series 7. So they might not even need Cease,
No, I think they will.
Until they get to the NLCS, assuming they make it.
At the end of the day, please remember, you're not playing the Pirates and the Rockies and the White Sox in postseason.
That's right.
Big issue there.
Okay.
But we had weeks to figure it out. Thanks for being with us.
Okay. And I always want to get XS Revolution, because this person always drops a little note here every time. Bonjour du Canada.
Comment allez-vous?
So I think it's all part of that Winnipeg group, that comes in every time. So thank you very much for being a great supporter.
Be with us. Spread the word. Tell the Canadian friends who we are, because we do talk puck too.
Here's a new name, Frank Lopez. Go Dodgers.
Not bad. 2-game lead. Starting to hit the ball. And I'll tell you what, those numbers that I posted today about where these Dodger pitchers are as of this afternoon in terms of ERA, that's pretty impressive. Now, can the Dodgers continue to hit? That becomes a question, because if the Dodgers don't hit home runs, then the Dodgers aren't quite the same team. And I just can't trust anybody in that Dodger bullpen. I don't think Dave Roberts can trust him, but he's got to use him somehow. So it's playoffs going to be fun. But you know what? And John and I talked about this off the air. Virtually everybody that's a hot team in baseball or a top team in baseball, everybody's got some glitches along the way here.
Oh, yeah.
Detroit's gone through some bad stretches. Philadelphia does not have Wheeler, and Nola is not Nola. Suddenly the Phillies look very vulnerable. Milwaukee, there's no doubt Milwaukee has really come together. Milwaukee in one stretch, I think it was as of Wednesday, Milwaukee was 41-11 in a stretch of time. That's an amazing statistic. The Cubs have been a little hot and a little cold hitting. They're not hitting now, and they've had some injury issues. Some of their pitchers have cooled off. Or the Cubs now what the Cubs were before. Toronto scares the hell out of me. They look complete. Yankees, if they don't hit home runs, who are the Yankees? The Mets don't have enough pitching at this point. They got just so many guys dinged up. It's just not the same team, even though they might be a wild card team. How far can they go? So, I mean, you got the Dodgers, you got the Padres, etc. Seattle, they look good in stretches of time, but they got the really good pitching. They do live off home runs a lot. So we got about 7 or 8 teams in baseball say, yeah, they could really be dangerous in postseason, but there's a bunch of them that also got some itches too.
I mean, those Mariners are good. I mean, I was really impressed with them in this recent series, and all those new bats, like Suarez was hitting bombs, and Naylor is really good hitter, and that Brian Wu, I mean, as a pitcher, I mean, he had how many 6 innings in a row?
Quality starts all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, so they've got something. But remember, in the beginning of the year, we all thought it was going to be the Rangers were going to win the AL West. We thought Houston was on the downward slope. And now the Astros are back in first, and Texas is in trouble.
Texas had just been wiped out by injuries. They had a span of 2 days where they lost Jacob deGrom and they lost Eovaldi, their front 2 starters. shoulders,
Brutal.
big issues.
Brutal. Okay, let's keep going here. We'll go to Eric, and he says, "Hey, are you on Dean Spanos' payroll, Lee?"
Me?
He thinks you're cheerleading for the Chargers.
Moi? No, I always tell you what I think. Sometimes that does not correlate to who I like or who I dislike. No, I'm not on the payroll. I just happen to think that they've got a lot of good athletes, and that there's a good track record there from that general manager who came from the Baltimore Ravens, and their whole history was built on doing it through the draft. He's had 3 good drafts in a row. They're right there. Now right there means playoffs, but playoffs means you got to win. And Justin Herbert, for all the things he's accomplished, has never won a playoff game yet. Has to happen this year. So I think the Bolts have a lot of talent, but they're also really, really young. Again, I don't understand the critique. Am I on Dean Spanos' payroll? Well, when I said I hope the quarterback goes 17-0 and the owner goes 0-17, I don't think I'm on his payroll.
Well, people say you're on the Dodger payroll or the Padre payroll. It's hilarious. But when you were broadcasting for the Chargers and for the Seahawks, were you getting paid by the team or were you getting paid by the radio station?
I work for the radio station.
Okay.
Yeah, I always told them what I do Monday through Friday has no relation to what I do on Sunday.
Interesting.
So it worked for the most part, and then they got upset at me, but it's okay.
Well, they may have gotten upset with you, but they switched the Chargers switched the licensing to a different radio station.
Yeah, they left our station. So, and I wound up getting the Seahawks job 3 weeks later, and they got all pissed off.
Well, what the hell? I mean, they let you go.
Well, they didn't. They had promised to take the whole broadcast crew when they went over to KFMB, and they didn't.
They didn't.
And then the word got out that I was available, and the Seahawks job was opening. Because my longtime friend Pete Gross passed away of cancer, and I applied for it, and I got hired like that. And then I went over there to cover. I covered the Charger press conferences, even though they're leaving our station. I covered them all the time, and they got so offended that I was there.
Oh, because you were on the enemy? Because you were Seattle?
I'm the voice of the Seahawks now. Well, damn right I am. I'm pretty good. And then we can't have you come in our practices. What? I'm going to go up there and tell Mike Holmgren you're practicing 3 and outs. By the way, you went 1-15, huh?
Yeah, right. That's right. That was a bad year, right then.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's where we are. On the payroll? No. I haven't gotten a Christmas card either in a while.
Okay, let's go to our good friend John. He goes, "Say, so where is Taylor Heineke going to land? I've watched him since he was at Old Dominion. He was a breath of fresh air and hope while he was with Washington, but I don't think he got too many snaps while with Team Spanos."
Well, he got the chance to play at the tail end, chunk of time last year when Justin Herbert got hurt. He was adequate. He managed games. He didn't win a lot of games for them. He's a backup quarterback. Bring him in and hope he doesn't make mistakes. He didn't have a good camp. Lance was running around. Now, I didn't think Lance threw the ball consistently very well. He ran around a lot and made some big plays running. We'll just see if somebody goes down. Maybe he gets a call, but he is what he is. He's an adequate backup. Is he a difference maker backup? No, not at all.
There's a lot of quarterbacks that are like him, that are, they can fill a hole. They'll be serviceable. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're not going to be an embarrassment, right?
He manages the games well. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He's trustworthy, but is he going to be able to get you down the field in 1:51 seconds? It's not a track record of that. I mean, I thought he played well when he was with Washington and managed, as a backup in Carolina. And I thought there were chunks of time here he played okay, but he's a backup.
We were just talking about quarterbacks moving around. It was it Herndon that went to the Carolina Panthers?
Yes.
Is there any risk that, what's the kid's name? Bryce
Young.
Bryce Young. Is there any risk that he could maybe get bumped off the number 1 spot in Carolina?
Unless he self-destructs. I mean, he got taken off the field last year because he was so poor. But he came back at the end of the season. They put him back in maybe on week 12. He played really well, much more competitively. It's just a growth process. Yeah, that's a bad team. So it's just not on Bryce Young that he's not productive and he's, completing 48% of his passes and throwing picks or getting his brains beat out. That's an organizational failure. But when he came back after he had been benched, he had obviously worked really hard. He looked like a different quarterback. He looked more composed. He made more plays. So he wound up winning the job back. So it's his job. And plus he's a high number one. You're not going to make a bad decision on a number one this early in their career. You got to work through it. Ask the same question in Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
They got the same set of circumstances. He's just really scuffled and struggled, and he's in over his head. And is he a student of the game? Do they have enough people around him? Has he learned to define his abilities? He's got to stay in the pocket. You can't run. Because you run, you get hurt. I mean, he's had 3 major injuries in 2 years. So the jury's kind of out on him.
Wait, who's that other quarterback, the red-haired guy that used to be with the Bengals? And I think
Andy Dalton.
Yeah, so I think he's the number 2 there, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, but he's got an elbow injury.
Oh, okay.
So, but I think Dalton is still there. He did not go on IR, but he did get dinged up. And Dalton is a little bit better version than Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
Because he was more productive. Dalton was a starter for a chunk of time in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he got a big contract at least once, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's go here to Callan. He goes, afternoon, gents. Hey, outside of Liverpool, is there anybody in the EPL that can truly challenge them for the title?
If Manchester City can stay healthy, because they've got goal scorers all over the place. Erling Haaland was hurt a lot last year, and when he got dinged, they weren't the same team. He's back healthy now. Manchester City, I'll be intrigued to see if Arsenal has spent a pile of money in the English Premier League. And again, I still think Man U, I mean, they went out internationally, globally, and they spent all that money. $193 million is a phenomenal amount of money to spend in the transfer area. And see if these guys come together and play. And so I happen to think Liverpool, City are the top 2. Arsenal might be knocking at the door. Newcastle's not what they had hoped they would be, so that's a big issue too.
It's interesting how there's certain names in the EPL that we hear all the time, but there's like 10 other teams that you almost never hear about.
Yeah, the bottom 10, Brighton and all these other people.
Aston Villa.
Yeah, they just Crystal Palace.
That's the name.
Yeah,
that
Nottingham Forest, although they had a good season last year.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because Saudi money now owns Newcastle United. And the general consensus was they'll come in and they'll buy everybody. Hasn't happened, which is kind of stunning.
Interesting.
Okay. Callum, thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go to Lenny. He goes, most important position on the field is left tackle, and the Chargers don't have a good one.
Chargers have Joe Alt. He is good. Now, they had to move Joe Alt from right to left. So now they got a right tackle problem. They might have a deficiency. This whole thing is really critical. Can Mekhi Becton, the right guard who came from the Eagles, stay on the field and stay healthy? Because he's got a history of injuries. But he had a great season last year in Philadelphia. But Philadelphia didn't bring him back. So what does that tell you? Can he stay healthy? And, they had problems at center last year. So they're not a complete team. I was all amped when they got Alt with Slater and with Zion Johnson, who up until last year played pretty well as a number 1 pick. I said, you got 3 number 1 picks, offensive line, that's pretty good. But all of a sudden now they got some issues. So we'll find out when they open against Kansas City. We're going to find out next Friday night whether or not this offensive line is sealed and is going to be okay, or whether this front is going to be a problem, because that's been the issue. Justin Herbert's taken a lot of hits, a lot of sacks. He doesn't turn the ball over a great deal, but I mean, he's been hurt. He's had 3 significant injuries because he gets pounded. So we won't know till Friday night. See me at midnight Friday night, Saturday morning, and we'll talk a little bit more about where the Bolts are.
Now, let's talk about the Bolts and the Chiefs. Are those teams trending up or down?
Oh, no. Well, the Chiefs are here because they've been here because they got so many rings here.
Yeah, but are they still going upwards?
Well, they think they solved left tackle, right tackle. Now, the Rashee Rice suspension dings them a little bit, but they got 7 wide receivers. And if they solve the left tackle, right tackle thing in Kansas City with Josh Simmons and the guy they signed from the 49ers who's going to play right tackle, then they're going to be solid.
Okay.
And the Chargers, I think the arrow is still pointed up because the Chargers are still stockpiling a lot of young guys, but losing Rashawn Slater in that fluke knee injury accident's terrible.
Yeah, especially right after he signed that big deal.
Yeah. And who knows if Najee Harris can be what Najee Harris was in Pittsburgh. If the answers are yes, that this offensive line is going to be stable and Najee can be Najee, then I think the Chargers are going to be kind of a really interesting offensive team to watch. But that being said, I want to know, who is your defensive tackle? who's going to star because they let their 2 starters leave.
I want Najee to be Najee.
Okay.
All right. Let's go here to Flegel. He says, Dodgers still haven't started hitting consistently, but the smoke signals are there. If pitchers can hold the fort for a little longer, it could be a better than expected finish for the Dodgers. But can they beat Milwaukee? I don't know.
Only question I have, Milwaukee's never walked down this hallway before in the playoffs. That's the critical thing. Milwaukee's got a bunch of guys that have really come together. I mean, to help Christian Yelich and obviously the kid Jackson Churio, who's about to come off the disabled list. Bryce Turang has come out of nowhere and has had himself a really good season. And they've just got a bunch of guys and really steady starting pitching. But they've never been in the pressurized postseason. Postseason is so bloody different. So that bears watching, because I happen to think you have to have experienced the tightness and the pressure of being in postseason play. So we'll see how good Milwaukee is. Maybe they are the real deal. I mean, 41-11 over a chunk of time this summer. That's pretty damn dominant. But again, that's not October baseball.
Yeah, and the Brewers they're always kind of hanging around, So is this the year that they break through? I'm not sure, but I mean, you gotta, if you're a betting man, the money's got to be on the Dodgers. I mean, they've got to be the favorite to go back to the World Series. But if not them, then yeah, probably Milwaukee.
And who knows in the East? I mean, you have to argue with me. It's not the Yankees and it's not the Mets. It may well be Toronto. I mean, Toronto is really deep, and Toronto's got very much trustworthy veteran pitching. And Shane Bieber, who'd been out a year plus with Cleveland, he wound up going to the Jays at trade deadline. He struck out 9 guys in his first game coming off the disabled list.
Wow.
And Bieber was a rock-solid, trustworthy Cleveland guy.
Yeah.
So we got a month of baseball. We'll be talking a lot more baseball, too. Okay, let's go from all that. Let's go to social media here.
No, we got to get one more.
Okay, go ahead.
One more. Okay, let's go to Casey, because I want to get Casey. You guys, good afternoon, guys. Hacksaw, who is your pick to the college football championship game this year, and who wins it all? Great to have college football back and an NFL a week away. Can't wait to get started.
Love Texas. They are so deep. And I think Arch Manning is really the real deal. Like Clemson, that's a third-year starting quarterback, Klubnik. LSU, I mean, Nussmeier has just really been impressive, and he started for almost 2 full seasons down there. So I'd have to say off the top of my head, those guys. Ohio State's lost an awful lot of players. They lost a lot of guys off defense, too. Now, granted, they got the kid quarterback from out here in Carlsbad, and they've got Jeremiah Smith. But, the 2 running backs are gone. And so it's a different cast of characters behind Salem at running back. So I don't think Ohio State's the national team. Penn State is the most unique one, because that quarterback, Drew Allar, is back for his 3rd straight year. Now, Penn State obviously lost Abdul Carter. Penn State's got maybe the best running back in the country, and Nick Singleton. So I think James Franklin's got himself a really good team, and he's got a 3rd-year starting quarterback up there at Penn State. So keep those names in mind as we start this run.
I just want to see someone other than a Big Ten or an SEC team win it.
Well, you're going to be really upset.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Okay, now let's go to social media. Okay, let's get a couple of these guys involved, and let's go. Here, this is a good one. This is from Steele talking about the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh. He goes, "Who really cares? The NCAA is an effing scam. They make billions a year. All the coaches do something, but haven't been caught yet. Jim Harbaugh could give 2 bleeps about the NCAA."
I buy that. This is the chaos that exists in college athletics right now. Still is a byproduct of the NCAA's incompetence and their greed. That's why all these lawsuits took place, and why all these kids and everybody won these lawsuits, and that's now why we have NIL and transfer portal. It's chaos. But that being said, Harbaugh is the one that stood up at press conferences and said, "I don't cheat, and I don't steal, and I don't lie." Well, you should have read the bottom pages of the 73-page NCAA report that said this guy did all that at Michigan, and he interfered and refused to cooperate, and he had no respect for NCAA bylaws. So now I ask you, unless all you care about is wins, I ask you about the ethics of the man. When you look at Jim Harbaugh, do you look at Jim Harbaugh the same way as you did 2 weeks ago before all this stuff happened? If the NCAA just put out the document and said, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and it never included Harbaugh in any of the wrongdealing, you probably wouldn't pay attention. But, man, they killed Harbaugh in that document where they handed down all these sanctions. So I look at them differently. If you wish not to, that's okay. If you're all about wins, regardless of how you get the wins, okay, that's you.
Do you think the NFL does a better job policing, funny business, cheating or whatever than the NCAA does?
Well, ask Tom Brady and Spygate.
Yeah.
Yeah, New England. Yeah, exactly. Ask drug usage. Ask gambling. NFL, I think last year hasn't gotten a lot of publicity. Suspended 9 guys for extended periods of time because they were gambling on sports. You can't do that.
But they're willing to drop the hammer a lot more aggressively than the NCAA does.
Well, it's just the inconsistency with the NCAA is what bothers me. I mean, what they did to USC in the Reggie Bush thing to that university, it's a lot different than they did to Michigan down here. And Michigan, their Spygate covered 3 years of wins, covered 38 games. That influenced the outcome of games, whereas Reggie Bush was just getting a payday for his family. He wasn't influencing it. And yet what they did was unbelievable sanctions to USC, and they've never, ever recovered.
No, they haven't. No.
Didn't take any scholarships from Michigan, didn't ban Michigan, took a pile of money from Michigan, but Michigan go to a bowl game this year if they qualify. So the NCAA is so out of control and so inconsistent too.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's keep going. A little Dodgers talk from Trinity. He goes, hey, crazy how they always bring up the Dodgers have money to spend, but fail to say the Dodgers draft well, develop their young players well, and have great trading chips and good rookies when they come up. Only Ohtani and Yamamoto are big buys that panned out. Dodgers have been playing with minor leaguers all year, and they're still in first. Dodgers are an amazing organization that you all love to hate. Be mad at yours.
Trinity. He nails it. At the end of the day, the Dodgers historically have always developed star players. They've always developed pitchers. Now, they've also had an enormous amount of pitchers who have broken down. And that's a big arguing point around all of Major League Baseball. And we jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, say evil empire because they spent, but they didn't waste money. I mean, Yamamoto was a great pitcher. I don't know if Sasaki will turn out to be one, but they think he's got all the resources to do it. And obviously, Ohtani is a phenomenal individual. Do you hate the team that wins? I guess maybe that's a byproduct. Everybody hated the Yankees because that's who the Yankees were. They spent it, they bought it, and they earned it. And the Dodgers are kind of the same. So that's my opinion.
Remember when the Dodgers had like 4 or 5 rookies of the year in a row?
Sure. That's organizational success.
Yeah, then it was like Piazza, Karros, and it was Hollinsworth was one of those guys. There might have been a pitcher in there. I can't remember them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, a hell of an organization. I mean,
in terms of scouting, exactly.
I want to hate the Dodgers, but sometimes it's hard to hate them.
We have to respect them from their baseball perspective. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
How about some Padres talk from a Dodger fan? This is from Edwin. He goes, you claim your 2 stars need to play better in the big games, but downplay the Dodgers relievers' track record, but they come through when it counts. Enjoy second place as always.
Oh, just piling on. He's talking about, I'm sure he's making reference to Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis, but again, the Dodgers bullpen's blown 23 games this year. Yes, they're in first place because they got great players in a lot of other positions, and they've got a gold standard starting pitching staff. But we'll just see what the month of October brings, and we'll see if they can trust this bullpen going farther. I don't know that they can. But again, when you got starters that are choking other guys the way these top 4 or 5 starters are right now, Dodgers are doing a really good job.
Enjoy second place. never ceases, these Dodger fans. Okay, let's talk Chargers. From Chris, he goes, the Chargers released Rocket Sanders.
Yes, exactly. We talked about it, and they were hoping to get him through waivers so they could put him back on developmental as an insurance policy, but Chicago signed him within hours. So that's just the way the NFL works. But I think you give Joe Ortiz credit. They scouted this kid. They thought this kid had a lot of upside. This kid played really well in the preseason games and probably earned an outside shot to be on this roster, but it did not happen right at the onset. So we'll see if he plays much with Chicago. And again, if Chicago puts him on waivers to try to get him to developmental, Chargers could always claim him back. But if you claim a guy, he's got to go on your 53.
How do you cut a guy named Rocket? You might always take a Rocket Ishmael.
He played like a rocket when he played. I was very, very impressed. Hey, listen, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Tell your friends who we are, what we do on this podcast. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Have yourself a great sports weekend. Start of the college football season. Baseball pennant race is underway. We're just a week away from the start of the NFL. We'll be back here Monday at 1:30. We'll have a lot more to talk about. John, have yourself a great sports weekend.
Go Aztecs. I believe that we will win.
Cheerleader.
That's me.
Thanks for being with us. Always great to have you part. Thanks for making this podcast such a success on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps. For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.